No background noise.
Good morning and welcome to another episode of Moms in Real Estate in the Morning with myself, Kristen Cantrell. We are extra excited today because we have one of our partners. If you do not know her, one of the fun facts that I just cannot get over about Tina is that she's a former MMA fighter, but she is also a top producing agent that serves military families. That's kind of her niche in Hawaii. She's also a coach and does all the things. And we are so excited because today she is going to be here to talk about leverage and leadership. And she's going to be talking about how to actually start leverage in your business, how to make that first hire, how to actually let things go out of our hands and delegate and all the things. So hi, Tina. Thanks for being with us today.
Hi. Good morning, wherever anyone is. It's 7:30 here, Hawaii time. So I actually have my toddler.
Like 7:30 a.m.?
Yes.
So
my toddler
like
just woke up, so he's shadowing me with my presentation today.
What time was it when we were talking this morning for you? 4:30?
Yeah, I wake up at 4 o'clock. I like my peaceful, quiet mornings.
Oh my goodness. I had no idea. So Hawaii must be the only place, Kristen, that is actually earlier than us on Pacific Standard Time.
Yeah, they're always 3 hours before us.
Well, I'm glad you mastered Hawaii time, Kristen.
I did. My best friend lives by Tina, so and we text every day, all day. So I got that one down.
Okay, good. I'm going to get you some friends on the East Coast too.
I know.
Okay, so Tina, we're going to share your screen, and then you're going to be ready to rock and roll. So you are good, friend.
Okay, excellent. This is Gigi. You want to say hi, Gigi?
Hi, beautiful. Good morning.
Hi, Gigi.
She's gonna shadow me right here. And look at all these pictures. All right, let's go. So this is me. This is who I am. This is me with my family. I have Gigi right here. Gigi will be 4 in November, born in 2021, and then I have a baby Maya. As you see, the little baby in these photos. She will be 1 here on October 10th. And fun fact here, she actually came all naturally on my birthday. She was due on September 29th and came 11 days late on 10/10. So we'll always have a birthday to share together. So
how do you feel about that? My daughter's sister-in-law just had that happen this weekend, and she was trying, and it was 3 minutes. She had the baby at 11:57 p.m. And she's like, I don't want to share my birthday, but it sounds like you like it, Tina.
I was feeling that way up until the point. I was like, as I was counting down, I was like, okay, she can have this weekend and I'll have this weekend. And then they kept getting closer. And I'm like, okay, she has her day, I have my day. And then when I went into labor the night before my birthday, I was like, all right. And then actually having her on my birthday, it was such a cool present and treat that honestly, my mindset shifted immediately. And I was like, this is actually really cool. And I'm really excited about this. So, Gigi's really wanting to be in today because she just woke up. So we typically actually always spend our mornings together. Like a little fun fact there is I wake up early so I can get ahead of the day. And that way, by the time my girls wake up between 7:30 and 8, we get, uninterrupted quality time together. And, my clients aren't really checking in because I've already been more proactive. I scheduled texts and different things like that to make sure I'm really ahead of the day, and I get a couple hours with my girls normally. So today's a little bit different. So she's kind of joining. So welcome, Gigi. So I'm really excited to talk about leveraging and leadership. The two go hand in hand together. I feel like, as you start to leverage, you are going to be a leader for if it's a micro team or whatever it is, like your household, anything that it may be. And so I really want to touch base on the leadership part of it today, as well as, talking about leverage. So I'm going to dive in here. So just to kind of introduce again, it's Gigi and Maya, and then my husband, Marcus. Oh, sorry, honey. Sorry, give me 1 second.
Moms in Real Estate live in action, right? I love it.
This is totally like Moms in Real Estate moment right here. But I'm so
100%.
excited to teach on this. So just give me 1 second, ladies. Sorry.
One thing I love, Kristen, is that it's like if you are watching, if you're tuning in right now and you're like, can I do this? Can I do this with the baby on my hip? Let Tina be proof. I mean, Kristen and I also have built our businesses with babies on our hips. And sometimes you'll see them because now they're like tweens and they come in and make faces and pop back out. But
yeah,
well,
during the summer, you definitely see kids in our videos all the time. And what's funny, you're right. It's like, they're older now. And so it's like, they come in and just like, they're like, oh, like who can see me right now?
they just take a peek and they go away. But I love it. And it is possible. And I'm excited because I think Tina's going to dive in and tell us a little bit about what her business looks like today. And I think that's going to speak hugely to like, hey, you can have a mom, you can be a mom with the babies in the trenches and still have a productive business.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much. Yeah, honestly, like what is really important to me is really being there for my daughters as like much as possible. And so that's where I really started to get into leverage. But I actually got into leverage before I was a mom, because as I started to grow my real estate business, you got to think you can't do, like, you can do it all. But if you can delegate the things that you don't like doing or feel like could free up your time to do the things that you enjoy, it'll be much more enjoyable of a career, right? And thinking of it like a marathon rather than a sprint. So I just ran up and down the stairs. So, okay. So talking about leverage 101, who is your first hire and how do you hire? Where do you begin? And how to be a leader when you're hiring. So today I'm actually, since this is a Moms in Real Estate group, I actually want to talk more about I want to talk both about like in your business, but also in your personal life, and then tying it all in, because I have spoke about this on stages and many presentations before, but I really want to speak to the mama audience, because I feel like as moms, we are told that if you want to have a career, that's great, but you still need to come home, cook, clean, do laundry, do the dishes, and do all that. And I just don't feel like that is how we have to live our lives. And for me personally, I grew up in a Hispanic household, so we had a lot of chores. So I don't know if anybody can relate to that, but we had a lot of chores growing up. And so I say now, like, I didn't enough chores for my lifetime, because it was just like chores to do anything, chores when you're grounded, chores all the time. And so as I've grown older and I started out in real estate, my friend started a cleaning company. And it was very like easy to hire her because I wanted to support her. At the same time, I was like, sure, you can come clean my 2-bedroom, 800 square foot condo and, you know, help me out, like put my laundry away and stuff, when I was just like solo living on my own. And as a realtor, and it made, you know, I saw it as the first opportunity of like, wow, like I'm not spending one Saturday a month scrubbing toilets and cleaning my place. And it's like, I could spend that time growing my business, or I could spend that time going to the beach or just enjoying life. And so that was one of my first hires. Another first hire was a transaction manager. I really like the organization of transactions and getting it from start to finish and knowing where everything is. So in the beginning, I actually did all my own transaction management, but which I do think is really great for new agents to understand like where they're at. But then it's like, well, if I'm sitting here behind the computer, how much time am I really facing my clients and being in front of them? And mind you, I've been in real estate for almost a decade. It'll be 9 years actually this October. So when I think back of like hiring a transaction manager way back then, it was kind of intimidating because you're just now starting to, you know, make money. And I will tell y'all like straight up my story. If you haven't ever heard my story, I bought a one-way ticket to Hawaii from Texas when I was only 18. I just graduated high school. I moved out as soon as I graduated high school into a house with some friends, and a friend was like, hey, I'm gonna move to Hawaii. It sounds like everyone else has bailed. You seem responsible, because I was working 2 jobs and like saving up for tuition. And so I had like a good savings going, but when she invited me to move to Hawaii with her, I bought the one-way ticket 10 months in advance in November 2010, the same year that I graduated high school, and then saved up. At this point, I cut out like any Starbucks, any extra spending, and just save because I didn't have a lifeline. Like I didn't have anybody I could call. Like when I got to Hawaii, like I couldn't just call somebody and say like, hey, I'm broke, send me some money. Like that wasn't an option for me. So I had to make sure that I was as financially sound as I could be to really make it out here. And we promised each other that we would stay at least a year. So then we moved out here in August 2011, and I was like just trying to find a job. I ended up, I feel like, good law of attraction being where like God wants you to be. I very much am in my faith with God. And I was praying for like the right job and just like being a good person. Through a connection, I landed a really good waitress job. And from there, I worked there for, a few years, 5 years until I got into real estate. I got into real estate because my grandmother was a realtor. And when I got into real estate, I knew nobody that was ready to buy or sell here. So, I started from nothing, and I barely even had owned a car for that long. Like when I first moved here, I would skateboard and catch the bus. So by the time I got into real estate, I was still starting from the bottom and no like sphere of influence. The people that I knew were waiters and waitresses that, don't always claim tips because tax purposes and things like that, or, buying a home in Hawaii just seems so far out of reach. Fun fact, I have helped a few of them now, but definitely not early in my career. So I started from like nothing when I got into real estate, even though I had lived out here for already 5 years. And so getting into real estate and having to like pay my own way through real estate school while still maintaining a job to make ends meet to get into real estate. And then when I started getting commission checks, it's like, I literally in the beginning of my career, I was counting like how much money, because I was a waitress working very part-time. Like I was counting how much money I had to go into the grocery store to buy groceries for the week or the month. Like I was very much like counting every dollar in my beginning real estate days. So then when it became time to like, think about hiring help, it's hard. Like you are in a totally different mindset. And like, I had to tell you how far I've come to tell you that like, hey, like, I don't just have money to throw around to say like, okay, let's just start hiring for my real estate business that I just started. So I did everything on my own. And the first hire I did have was a transaction manager. And that really helped so much. Like I was like, wow, like, because they caught things, they were experienced, and they were able to catch things that maybe I wouldn't have even caught. And I learned along the way. But at this point, I wasn't sitting behind my computer waiting for disclosures to come in to then send the disclosure and then upload it into like SkySlope or whatever the broker compliance portal is. Like I was able to actually just spend time growing my business. And as soon as I hired a transaction manager, the amount that I was able to grow was just incredible. Then that was just like my first hire. So from there, I was like, wow, like, okay, this is leverage. So I introduced to you leverage. My first hire was a transaction manager. Going back to what I was talking about from the cleaner, I wanted to like back up and tell that story first before I ended up hiring a cleaner, because that was really my first hire. Then my next hire was more personal related in hiring a cleaner. My friend started the cleaning company. She helped me get my home together so that way I could spend more time working or I could spend more time relaxing, because it's very important that you come from a place of relaxation in your business. Like you don't want to have what they call commission breath, where you're like constantly going after clients and looking for the next dollar and trying to make a sale here and there, because that's not who I am. And that's not probably what you do. You want to build relationships with people. You're somebody that is looking at growing your business just by you actually watching this. So when you think about growing your business and thinking about those around you in the relationship side of things, like you don't want to come off wrong to anybody. So if you're constantly stressed and thinking about like money and commissions and every dollar, sometimes it's really hard to build a genuine relationship with somebody and care about them, because you may just see them as a next commission check and you don't want to do that. I'm pretty sure nobody wants to do that. You really want to come off genuine. And so what you need to do is you need to have a place where you can calm down, calm your energy, relax, come from a place of abundance and peace. So that way you can exemplify that to your clients. And so hiring somebody like a house cleaner or hiring somebody to help you run errands, or even as simple as using Instacart, things that can free up your time and give you some more sanity back, that's going to help you scale your business. And as a mama, you may not even also want to scale. You may just be doing leverage to buy back your time. So let's talk about your financials. Like what can you currently afford to, if it's leverage to scale or if it's leverage to buy back your time, like think about like, okay, what can I afford? Like, and how much am I worth an hour? So we'll get into that as well. And then I talked about how I scaled and how hiring has bought me so much more time. And that's the one thing that like we can't ever really like buy, right? Like when you think about it, if I were to like be able to talk to everybody in here and ask y'all, but I mean, I can ask Randy and Kristen, like Warren Buffett, the richest man alive, who would trade places with him? He's like 90 something years old. Like how many people would actually trade lives with him? Like you fly on a private jet, you go wherever you want, you have anything in the world that you want. How many people would actually trade places with him? Like,
is this the trick question?
no.
I always, Tina, here's my thing with it.
Well,
like we've all had that, especially as agents, right? Like when we're new, we see that seasoned agent and we're like, oh my goodness, I want that. Or, you know, whatever, whatever season we're in, we find somebody that we think that. And I always try to look at the whole like life view, like would I actually, and I never would trade, right? Because there's just so many things to my core that I'm so grateful and thankful for in my life. So I would say no, but not to say I wouldn't, you know, I wouldn't take some of the money. Just kidding.
Yeah, right. All of us would love his money, but there's one major reason that nobody would want to trade lives with him, and that's because time. Like that guy is in his 90s, and he really, I mean, you can have all the money in the world and try to prolong your life as best as possible, but like he's 90. So if you trade lives with him, like you may have all the money in the world, but you only have, 10, 20 years left, right? But for us, like if we can buy back our time now and like actually enjoy our time, and that's talking about leverage and delegation, like you are buying back your time, like the book by Dan Martell. Yay, we got more kids on. You are, if you haven't heard of that book, it's called Buy Back Your Time by Dan Martell. And he talks about leverage and buying back your time with things that, bring you joy. So you don't want to be hustling, making a bunch of money in real estate to only look back and wish that you would have cherished the moments more. And so that's why whatever season you're in, I can be talking to you leverage. You could be a brand new agent that takes your first commission check and you take 10% of your first commission check and you think about what you can leverage. You think about, you know what, I am tired of deep cleaning this house once a month. Like you hire a cleaner and now you're at more peace. Now you're coming off as more peaceful for your clients, more peaceful for your family. You're spending more time with your family, or you're spending that Saturday growing your business. Like there's so many things that you can do from that. So I'm going to go to the next slide.
I think I just want to chime in here. I think that's one of the things that we carry the most guilt, especially when we're building, right? Like there's this like thought of like, how am I going to be hiring somebody when I'm not making enough money, or I'm not doing this, or I'm not doing that, or even when we get successful, right? At one point I had like somebody that was cooking, somebody that was like cleaning. I had like 5 different positions, but I do think giving ourselves permission to know that we can still win in the home. And as a Hispanic family myself, I understand what you're saying. And like, there's a whole nother element to that, not just like the whole chores, but the whole cultural element of like roles. And so, I mean, there is some hurdles to overcome, but I think this is so important. And for those people watching, I think it is really, really important to understand that there's like very few roles in your business or in your life that have to be done by you. And if we actually can do those really well, like, the nurturing and the motherhood, the loving and the wife, like everything else changes, right? So I'm so here for this, Tina. I'm like, hire all the things.
Yes. And I mean, you said it exactly. Like there's just so many of the different roles that, people, moms especially, think that we have to do. And so I wanted to give some examples of things that you can easily outsource, whatever it may be. Maybe look at this, pick a couple and think about, okay, what do I enjoy and what do I maybe want to outsource? Like for me, I do have a nanny that helps out with my kiddos. I also recently got a house manager because I felt like, I needed more help around the house, like when it comes to the laundry and dishes. And this is somebody that really comes over like part-time, but laundry and dishes and just kind of like daily picking up and like the floors, because I want to be spending more present time with my daughters and my family. And now that my 3-year-old's in jujitsu, like we're getting to jujitsu and things like that, I don't have time to be cleaning the floors every day from messes. And then my baby crawling around and those little pincher fingers trying to pick every little thing up and put everything in her mouth. So I just need, that extra hand. And so that's how like the whole house manager position came about. And so for me, it's, having these areas in my life that it's like, what do I enjoy doing? I enjoy playing with my kids. I enjoy taking them to the park. I enjoy spending time with my husband, date nights, all of that. What don't I enjoy? I don't enjoy cleaning the house 7 times a day. I still clean the house, but having a little bit of extra help is really good. I don't enjoy doing piles and piles of laundry. I want to think about what is doable in this season as well, because I have an almost 1-year-old and almost 4-year-old. So will my life always look like the help that I have now? And I think Randy was saying that earlier. It's like, your different seasons of life and where you're at are going to be, or maybe I was hearing it at something but earlier, maybe talking to Kristen earlier, but your different seasons is also going to change and determine like how much help you're looking for now. So if you're like, like I need this help now, but like when your kids are school age, maybe you don't need all the help at the home because they're at school all day and the house is you're not getting buckets of Legos dumped everywhere, things like that. So think about what I encourage you from this slide is to like think about the season that you're in right now and where could you delegate things that would make your life more enjoyable. And I want you to think of 5 things for business and 5 things for your personal life. Now, this could just be like goals and like big dreaming. But if you don't write it down, like you're never going to get there. You have to actually start dreaming and vision board planning and hoping that you can get there. But if you don't even think, like if a house manager is something that you're like, that would be incredible, like, but I don't even know like when I would ever be there because your head is not there yet. Write it down, write out this dream position, manifest it, script it into existence. You know what? I need to sell this many more houses. And then I think I can hire a house manager and I'm never doing laundry again. I don't want to do dishes anymore. I don't want to do yard work, whatever it may be. Like you should really be vision planning for this. All right. So how big do you want to scale and what does it look like? So let's go into these. Okay. There's different areas when it comes to scaling. Business planning is really important. And I think that the world has told us that there's 2 types of people out there. There's type A and there's type B. But really, we can all be a mixture of both. Business planning is essential for your business. And I won't get into that too much right now, but it is important when you do start to think about leveraging, like how much are you making and how much can you leverage out, as well as expense planning. And then having accountability. If you say that you want to hire a transaction manager, then hold yourself accountable to hiring a transaction manager when you reach a certain goal. Hold yourself accountable for making sure that you are setting your schedule and your boundaries and you have systems in place to where you can live the life that you're actually really working very hard for. Kind of like what Randy was saying, like, don't wish that you were ever like this top producer agent. I think that everybody can probably feel guilty of that at some time, but when you get into real estate and you see like top producers, I know the top producers in my industry here in Hawaii, like I wouldn't trade lives with them. They may be selling $14 million homes every day. And I don't want to trade lives with them because I also see what that lifestyle looks like. And I also see what, sacrifices people have to take to get to the top and where they want to be. So you have to find out like where you're comfortable with. And I think that as new agents, you're trying to figure out where do you want to fit in your industry, and how much is going to get you your dream life. Like, when is it attainable of a goal, and how are you going to get there? And that's where I really like to talk about coaching. Coaching is essential. I have different mentors in my life, and you go through different seasons where you learn from somebody and then you learn from somebody else, and you take all of that and you make the business that you want. You really want to look at somebody whose life that you want to embody as well. I know for my mentors, I actually have a mentor, and she has a lot of VAs, and I thought that was very inspiring. She tries to only work 3 days a week, and she has a lot of VAs. So when I think about that, I'm like, wow, that's incredible. Like, I want to hire more and work less too. So I'm learning from her about how to do that. And so for my micro team, just to kind of give y'all more context, I'm the agent. My husband's also licensed, and he'll help out here and there, but I do the agent duties. I have an amazing admin. She's been with me for about 4 years. Her name is Laura. And then I also have a virtual assistant. I have a marketing team. And then at home, I have a nanny and a house manager. And then I just hired a part-time personal assistant to also help with some errands as well. And I think that pretty much covers it. And so that way I can do the things that I love doing in my business while also doing the things that I love doing at home. And for me, I also, just to kind of share like a personal story, last week I got a call from an agent who is seeing that I'm a coach now and that I've been coaching, and she's getting my emails, and she's like, that's so incredible. I love your emails, all of this. And I was curious, like, are you still selling? So then when I looked you up, and I'm like, wow, like, she's still selling. Like, I'm very much inspired by you. And she was just chit chatting with me. And for like 10 minutes, I got to talk to her about, having systems and leverage. And she's like, I love that, like, you're doing the systems and leverage to be more present with your clients and more present with your family. Because sometimes people think that leverage and systems is taking you away, like you're automating your whole business. It's like, no, what you're doing is you're getting systems and leverage in place, so that way you can be present where it matters. That way you can take an hour phone call with your clients and explain a process instead of drowning in admin work, or instead of doing laundry or dishes, instead of sending emails over and over. You have templates instead of having a non workflow in place. Like, not having systems in place is keeping you behind a computer doing repeat tasks that you don't need to be doing, because what you need to be doing is being front facing with your clients. And so when I was talking to this agent last week, she's like, I see, like, you are delegating and automating things so that way you can actually come from a place of peace for your clients and be more present with them. And that just like hit a light bulb. And she was just like so excited about that. Fun fact, she's actually getting more into like property management. And because she sees how I'm presenting myself, she's sending me some of her listings as a referral. She's like, oh, like that's the ultimate compliment. Somebody in your own market is sending you listings and just taking a referral fee, because they want to focus on whatever it may be that's different. So if people can see that you are balanced and peaceful, like, your doors could open up to somebody wanting to send you business, because they're like, I like that agent. I see how they're working with their clients. I see how they're not stressed. They're coming from a place of abundance, living a life that's aligned. And that's also what your clients want to see too. Like, the more aligned you are, the more that they see you as a human and as a mama, the more that they're going to want to, the more that they're going to easily be able to relate to you, want to refer you, want to work with you more, et cetera, et cetera. So this is strategic goal planning. This is just, if anybody wants like my sales tracker, I have lots of trackers. My spreadsheets have spreadsheets, I say. So if you ever want to see anything like this, you can message me anytime. I can put it in the Moms in Real Estate Facebook group. But, you got to kind of backtrack to where your goals are for strategic goal planning and game planning. All right. So let's talk about how much can you afford? Determine your worth. How much are you worth an hour? So if you've never done this, you should definitely be pulling out a calculator right now and calculating how much you are making an hour based on how much you are selling. So how much are you making a year? And then you can divide it by how many hours you think you work a week. Actually, recently I saw Stevie Rutherford, and she posted that she did a toggle, and she actually calculated how much time she was spending on her business and all of her tasks. And she's a mom in real estate. And I thought that was so cool that she really dialed in and said, this is how much time I'm spending on content. This is how much time I'm talking to clients, and, you know, actually getting to see her hours. I think she did it for like a day or maybe a week. And I think that's a really great task. And everyone should be doing a self-audit, an alignment check, and seeing like, where is your time actually going? And then seeing how many hours you're working a week, and then dividing that by how much money you make a year, you know, multiply it and divide it. So simple math, if you are making 200,000 a year, let's just say that. So let's just say 200,000 a year. Okay. You divide it by 50 weeks, not 52 weeks. So divide by 50 weeks. And then that's 4,000 divided by, let's say that you're working 40 hours. Okay. Then you are worth $100 an hour. That's just simple math. Okay. If you're making $200,000 a year, you're worth $100 an hour. So what tasks can you delegate out that are under $100 an hour? Like, as in paying like somebody $25 or $35 to do a marketing packet, because you are worth $100 an hour. So why are you going to sit there and spend 4 hours making a Canva packet when you could easily pay somebody maybe less than that? Obviously, that's not $400 worth, you know, maybe of a packet. Maybe you could delegate it out, find somebody on Fiverr or Upwork, delegate it out for $50. And then you just bought back some of your time, because now you're not spending doing all your time doing a relocation packet. It's worth paying for memberships like Coffee and Contracts or other memberships where there's templates already done and you can just plug and play. Think about all the time you're saving with that, or even the headspace of content creation with Coffee and Contracts as well. You know, finding what fits your groove to buy back your time. Paige, one of our gals in Moms in Real Estate, she has amazing templates. So many templates. Like, why are you going to sit there and reinvent the wheel and redo a whole buyer's presentation or listing presentation when you can buy her templates for very affordable? I know they're so low ticket, but it's like, you don't have to reinvent the wheel and you don't have to do everything from scratch. So think about how much are you worth an hour and how much is that task possibly able to delegate out. Okay. So how's your energy? I talked a little bit about this already. Are you burnt out and can't give your clients what they deserve? Because if you are tired because you are sending emails, and maybe it's transaction management, maybe you have a couple escrows and you're trying to make sure you do this, and this disclosure had a red flag, and this inspection, you got to ask for these, and you got to get more quotes, and you're just like drowning trying to do it all. Then when your client calls you and they really want to talk about that home inspection issue, you're like, hey, I'm too busy because I'm trying to get you quotes right now, like catch you later. And then they end up like canceling the deal. Like, that's the last thing you want. So you need to make sure that you have time to be front facing with your clients. So that means maybe having a virtual assistant or an assistant, somebody that can help you gather those quotes for the home inspection report. So that way you can then provide them with the results and say, listen, these are the results that I have. I really want to talk you through it. And then, like, you know, talking to a plumber or an electrician, they may word things in a certain way. You can have your admin, your virtual assistant, whoever it is, get that information. And then you can even plug that into ChatGPT to make it more eloquent to talk to your client about. And then you get on the phone with your client and you have it all laid out. I like to have my lovely admin Laura talk to the plumbers and like break it down for me, because sometimes, like, when plumbers are explaining stuff, I'm kind of like, okay, like, I'm not a plumber. Like, I need this broken down in layman's terms, and I need like the summary of like what's important. But then also, you know, my clients can also call the plumber and talk to them as well. So Laura knows how to really break down information and give it to me in digestible form. So that way I can prepare how to talk to the clients and make sure that like I know what information I'm giving them, versus me going down and tracking down 5 different plumbers, getting them to answer the phone and getting quotes and getting anything that the client may really need. I'm saving my energy for the conversation with the client, because this is somebody's biggest financial decision. $500,000 home, $200,000 homes, whatever it may be. This is a huge, important step in somebody's life, and they want you to be available. That doesn't mean outside your boundaries, have your boundaries still, but they want you to be mentally available and at the headspace to where you can actually come from a place of serving, not from like, okay, let me just hurry up and get through this transaction. Because that's how nobody wants to feel like a transaction. They want to feel like you actually really care about them and you're guiding them through this. And then that's how you also are going to turn that one transaction into several more transactions, because they're going to love you so much that you're going to get referrals. All right. So a non-burnout agent performs greater. So working smarter, not harder. If you don't know already, I love systems. And you'll hear the rhyme and the reason behind my systems now is so I can be more front-facing for my clients and also get more time with my precious family. So just think about how you're making your clients feel. Always be a good listener. Try to, be an advocate for your clients and always think of their best interest. Really, like when you actually can come from a place of abundance, like if it means your client's canceling, then it's okay. Let your clients cancel, help them find another home. If they cancel and they don't even buy again, like it's okay. Come from a place of abundance to where you are actually there for your client's best interest. I had a client that was a military client and they came here and we got into escrow, and then their orders changed and they were going to be here for less amount of time. And I give really good service. I've been talking to them for 6 months out before they got here. We had looked at several homes in person as well. I spent a lot of time and energy with them. But when it came to, hey, I'm not going to be here as long, I was like, I honestly don't think this is a good investment for you anymore. And it's like, you have to be honest with your clients, because they're going to appreciate that so much more than you just trying to get a sale. And after that person sent me a referral, and I was able to work with their friends and their colleagues because they're like, listen, she's not going to just sell you and get you into something that's not good for you. Like, she actually recommended that I don't buy because now I'm not going to be here as long. And that's the kind of person, if you're building your reputation, think about that's the kind of person you really want to be, is not known for always just getting a sale and then lining your own pocket, but how you're going to show up for everybody and be intentional with how you serve and showing your heart, because we all have our different hearts. But at the end of the day, as moms, I feel like our hearts are really compassionate and you want to help people in a different way. So you can really become a referral machine if you are treating your clients the right way with the good intentions. I also like to say, make real estate fun. Get to know your clients. I have a lot of referrals come in. I know, Randy, you're like this as well with your mob. It's really important to have good, genuine relationships and not always talking about business. And then find systems to simplify your follow-up so you don't forget. Google Calendar, have a place where you track your escrows, stay front of mind with your client. So here's just some good takeaways for you here. All right, here's my family and client appreciation party in the top left, but habits. I put a picture of us at church the other week because that is a habit for us. We go to church on Sundays. Actually, I wake up early every day except for Sunday. I don't wake up early. My family makes pancakes and Mama stays in bed. And so it's a nice Sunday morning for me. And then we all get up and get ready for church. We catch the 11 a.m. service so that we have our morning of pancakes in church. And so that's a good habit that sets my tone for the week. That has nothing to do with real estate. That has to do with setting my mind mentally up for the week so I can serve my family and I can serve my clients in the right way. So having good habits is really important, and it's going to be your key to success. So think about what habits are going to bring you more joy and peace, and that you can implement those in your week. What habits are you going to look back when you're 80 years old and look back and say, I'm glad I did that? And your kids too. My daughter loves making pancakes on Sunday mornings, and she loves going to church and her class and things like that. So what habits do you have? Having weekly organization. Another thing too is I do team meetings with my team once a week. We really try to aim for Mondays, and we talk about all areas that we need to talk about. But I also do meetings with my husband We talk about, okay, what's different this week? Do you have a physical therapy appointment? Like, do I have a closing? What do the girls have an appointment? Are there swim lessons, jujitsu, gymnastics, like all these things? Like my husband and I get on the same page and we talk about what our week looks like. Is there anything that we need to talk about, like kids' behaviors, anything like that, where we're not in front of the kids and, you know, we remembered something and we need to talk about it, or, you know, anything with, you know, food or meal preps. Like that we have categories that we talk about every week to make sure that we're aligned. So, you know, bringing this in from a mama perspective here to Moms in Real Estate, it's not just about the meetings that you're having with your team, but it's about the meetings you're having with your household. Same with like our amazing nanny, Ashley. I check in with her and I'm checking in to make sure that she feels good. And that's like the part of the leadership side of this that I'll get into on the next slide. But it's like being a leader and checking in with people and making sure that people feel good with their workloads, and, you know, checking in to make sure that everything feels aligned. And if there's anything big going on with your team as well, like how can you really support them and keep it like a family momentum, family dynamic, and keep the momentum going. Accountability, good accountability habits. Are you holding yourself accountable? Do you have a coach? Do you have a mentor that's holding you accountable? And are you welcoming accountability? Having planning days. Content creation. What are your habits for content creation? Do you like just creating content every day and on the fly, or do you want to have a day where you batch create? Think about what habits you can have that move the needle forward in the direction that you want to go. All right, so leadership. So leading with vision, not just volume. Inspire with a clear why. Your mission fuels action. So when it comes to your clients, do they actually know your why, and as to why you're in real estate and what you're doing and why you do it the way that you do it? I think it's really important for your clients to know that, but also anybody that works on your team, anybody that works around your house, like what is your why? It's like if you're going to assign somebody a task, sometimes it's really helpful for them to know why. I've definitely learned that working with Laura over the years. If I tell Laura like, hey, you need to CC escrow on this email, she hears it as, okay, CC escrow. But if I say, hey, it's really important to CC escrow on this email because this is the introduction from the buyer to escrow, and then escrow is going to reply with the wire instructions for their earnest money deposit. So if escrow is not CC'd, then we could not get our earnest money deposit in as the buyer, and then the seller could essentially cancel. Spending the extra time to explain all of that will actually click more in Laura's head, as I've learned over the years, as to, oh, it's really important to CC escrow. Like it's really important, not just Tina said to do it, so let's do it kind of thing. So making sure that everybody that you're working around understands the why. It's like, instead of just telling Ashley like, hey, it'd be really helpful if you prepared snacks on Monday night. And it's like every Tuesday morning I'm in this Surfer Moms group. So it's like, so she knows like, okay, Tuesday morning, Tina's got surfing tomorrow. Like, I'm going to make sure I prep this girl's snacks the night before, versus just like, hey, can you prep snacks? She's thinking, oh yeah, tomorrow is Tuesday surf. Like, let me make sure I get these snacks put away in the fridge. So that way she just grabs it and goes in the morning. Things like that. Having clear communication is really going to help you be the best leader that you can be. Systems are leadership. Repeatable workflows equal freedom plus consistent service. You may think of admin tasks and systems as not being like something that is necessary until you are on the verge of burnout or breakdown. But I will tell you, if you have systems in place, you're going to be giving consistent service to your clients. So when they refer you, they're having similar experiences than the person that they're referring you to. And everybody's going to know, when I work with Tina, it is so smooth from here to here to here. On this part of the transaction, she does this, this, and this. And it's like on closing day, she always makes us feel so special. And it's like, she made us feel so special on closing day too, and et cetera, et cetera. So having systems will create consistency in your business and gonna help with keeping everything aligned. Leverage equals trust and action. Delegation is a love letter to your future self. Again, let's fast forward to being older in our lives, and you're going to have like your success is inevitable. I'm just going to say that right now. And if you need a mantra for this week, just know that your success is inevitable. If you are planting the seeds and working hard and getting there, like you're going to be successful. You are. But don't let it cost you your sanity, your time, your freedom, your marriage, your time with your kids. Don't let success get in the way and take away from the things that truly mean something to you. And I've seen it with like people who climb the ladder and you can see their health start to decline, or people that are climbing the ladder and you see them not paying attention to their family, and they may be having struggles that you can't even see because they're so focused climbing the ladder. Think about like where you want. And that's what Randy was saying earlier, is like she has so many great blessings and abundance that she thinks about with her life and she knows are meant for her. She doesn't want to trade places with anybody. And that's how you should be as well. You should be thinking also from the perspective of 70-year-old Tina. Like, what is 70-year-old Tina going to be happy about? Because I'm in the thick of it right now. I have an almost 1-year-old and almost 4-year-old, and it can be hard sometimes. But at the end of the day, I still really enjoy spending time with them. I know one day the house is going to be perfect and clean, and like I see all those like posts and I cry when I see them. I'm that one that cries when you're scrolling and it's like one day your house will be clean and it'll be quiet, and it's like, so I embrace the chaos, but I need help with the chaos sometimes. And so delegation and things like that, so I can be more present and not an overstimulated mom. And if that means even having somebody help with meal prep, I enjoy cooking, but like sometimes it's like I need help with cooking. So it's like delegation is a love letter to your future self. So think about, what would you wish you would have done more with the money you have now, your future self, like put yourself there and say, like, when my kids were young, or when my kids started sports, like I wish I had somebody to wash their football uniform every Friday, because it kept turning into a bickering between my husband and I of, you were supposed to do this or you were supposed to do this. And it's like, what can bring more peace in your household? Presence is power. Your calm energy sets the culture and the momentum. So being present for everybody is hard. Okay. So you've got to see when you need to be present for. So for me, I am present for my family first and foremost. And then I am present for Laura a lot. Like Laura and I check in with each other a lot, because I want to make sure that if she has questions, she knows I'm available. But she also knows, like, sometimes she figures things out and doesn't have any questions. And it's one of those things that asks for forgiveness rather than permission. And I'm just like, you know what? I trust her. She's been working with me long enough, and I love that. But even as we grow with a new VA, it's about learning how to trust somebody new with your business as well. And if you're like me, my business is my baby before I had babies. And so I'm very particular about my business, but you've got to come from a place of peace and trust the people that are in their position, because micromanaging isn't fun for you. It's not fun for them. So letting them do their thing and be present for questions and check-ins. And that's why you need to have the habit of your weekly meetings or even daily meetings, whatever it is, until you get that momentum going. I would say continuous growth is very, very important. And that is what has led me to being the success that I am today, is because I never stop learning. I have been to 4 real estate conferences this year, and I had a baby less than a year ago. So my little Maya, who's about to turn 1, has been to all 4 real estate conferences with me. And I'm talking like stepping away every couple hours to breastfeed her, when the first one that I went to this year, she was only 5 months old. So, getting out there and realizing that learning is a superpower. And the fact that y'all are on here, even listening to this, whether you're on live now or you're catching the replay later, like, you need to just like be proud of yourself, because you are learning, you are growing, and hopefully you are going to be delegating. And then legacy over transactions. Every choice builds family and community impact. So think about like the choices that you're making for the greater good, of not just like, oh, I want to be a millionaire. Oh, I want to, make this much money. Like, take the money aside of it and think about like the legacy that you're building. As a mom in real estate, it's not just about you. It's about your kids, and how are you setting them up for success? How are you leading with your legacy in mind? How are you showing up every day and showing them like, hey, I can still work and I can have a job, but I can still make it to your soccer games. I can still be present for you. I can still take the time to, eat meals with you. Like for me, I'm eating pretty much 3 meals a day with my kids. My husband's schedule's a little different. He's a professional MMA fighter, and so he's training a lot, but I really make it a point in my schedule to eat with my kids. And, if I have like appointments, listing photos, things like that, like it's not every day, but it's kind of like if you tell yourself that you want to show up at the gym every day and you have a day where you don't show up once a week, then you still showed up 6 days. So if you think of it as like a habit of showing up as much as you can, then when you don't make it, you don't have that like, oh, like I didn't make it kind of guilt, because you're like, hey, I show up when I can and as often as I can. I'm actually re-listening to, I'm a big audiobooks person, but I'm re-listening to The Power of Habits or Atomic Habits. And it's just been so great. It talks about like habit stacking. So definitely a good book recommendation. All right. So my advice for scaling your business is leveraging systems, staying consistent, and time block, and having a mentor. I am thinking that, 1 second, I'm pulling this up. Y'all tracking here, Randy and Kristen?
We are, and we have a comment. Definitely glad I didn't miss this webinar. So we love that. We also had another comment that said, I am so thrilled to be here. Thank you for speaking to all of us ladies. And then as soon as you wrap up here, we should have about 5 minutes for questions. So I've seen a few come in. I'm tracking those. If you're in the stream, you can drop it there, but we're watching all the platforms so we can ask Tina your questions.
Okay, I'm just going to see if my, yeah, so then I have, okay. Well, I mean, this is just my advice for scaling. So, and then, all right, that was all actually. So I was just making sure I had it all there. So this is a QR code so y'all can get to know me more. I try to be very present in the Moms in Real Estate group. I really have a passion for helping others. And so when people post questions, like I love to go in and answer from like my perspective and just like help out however I can. I mean, some mamas have DM'd me even, and I'm like, I'm spilling anything like, that I can to help you in your business at all. So I am here. I can stop sharing my screen if you want. So that way we can go into, can we see people?
Possibly, if some of the ones that are in the room want to, if they want to come on, we can bring them on. And also real quick, Tina, will you tell them you have a challenge coming up? Can you tell them a little bit about the challenge and what that looks like? So if they want more, they know what that next step could be.
Of course. So I have a 5-day boot camp starting next Monday, September 29th through October 3rd. So it is just to get your systems in place. You heard me talk about it some today, but getting systems in place is going to make you more present with your clients. So we're going to be discussing what kind of systems maybe you have. I have a scorecard we're going to start with on Monday, talking about the mindset around systems. I'm going to be providing templates and workflows and all kinds of fun energy in this 5-day boot camp. It's $47, an hour every day, Monday through Friday. And what's fun is I'm going to be doing a raffle prize for whoever's on, because yes, you can catch the replay, but I want more people to chime in and be on so we can make it a fun, exciting time. So if you're on every day, there's going to be a raffle, and on Friday, there's going to be a grand prize raffle. So make sure if you sign up that you actually are on for the time schedule, to add it to your calendar, and it's going to be so great.
I love that. We had another comment that said, thank you so much. I needed these words because I'm trying to work on being proud of myself as a mom in real estate. So we love that. I do have a few questions from, so let's start with this one. I think this one is a good one. When you don't have enough money yet to hire, how can you start practicing leverage on a small scale?
So I would take commission checks and I would delegate as much as if you can do 10%. So take your first couple commission checks and 10% and start to build somewhere to delegate out. A more affordable place that you can delegate things out would be probably like Fiverr or Upwork. So let's say that you want to work on, if you want something to grow your business, there's so many amazing resources on there. You could have a virtual assistant help you with inputting all your email templates or different different strategies for systems. I would say systems are probably the more automations, and systems are going to be the thing that is going to give you the best return on investment before your first hire. And then as your first hire goes on, you're going to be getting more systems and delegation, and then your admins are going to be getting their own systems and delegation. So it grows from there. But for more affordability, you should have like a client intake form, and you should have buyer's guides and seller's guides, and have a setup process for how you're going to be checking in with them, and also an automation process, because your time is the most expensive thing. Like your time. So if your time is spent, like from a client intake form, if your time is spent going and sending them manually a buyer's guide, like that's your time right there that you could be at the park with your kids. So when somebody fills out an intake form, you need to have Zapier take it to what I have as a flow desk sequence, where as soon as they get it, if they check buyer, they're going to get a buyer's guide. They're going to get my calendar link. And that's a 15-minute calendar link. I have so many availabilities for a 15-minute call, easily to do a 15-minute call. And so they can do a 15-minute call with me, and then we can schedule a consultation from there. So having like automations is going to be the biggest thing. And I'll go over the automations in my boot camp more in depth. I just wanted to like spill some there as well. And you can also ask me in the Moms in Real Estate group, send me a DM or anything like that as well.
I love that. Okay. Oh, go ahead, Kristen.
I was just going to say, like, there is a lot of affordable systems that you can plug into as well. Like we talk about a handful of them in our group too. One that I was thinking is the real-time app. It is literally like, I think it's like $30 a month, and it does like all these different things to help you stay organized and systematized. So Flowdesk is also $19 a month, and it's probably one of the best like easy systems that all three of us use. So just look, because there is, and even Pages templates, I think they're $29 for like 500 templates. So like there is stuff that is like super cheap out there.
Yeah. And two things. Number one, if you want to join this boot camp, just know that we're doing a giveaway. So jump over to Instagram and follow Moms in Real Estate, and you can find out how to get that giveaway and get the boot camp for free. And then the other thing is, remember that you can always go to heymeyer.com. So heymire.com, and you can go to our resources and all of our partners. So all this stuff that Tina is talking about leveraging, like we have the resources, and launching in the next week is going to be our favorite tools page. So that's going to be great. Real quick though, before we wrap up, we still have like 3 or 4 questions. We probably won't get to them all. So know that you can reach out to Tina. But one of the questions, Tina, is, do you have any advice for a full-time mom that is trying to make real estate full-time?
So I would say get really organized with your calendar, because that is where, I mean, I'm such a calendar person that I will go back and add something to my calendar. If I took my daughter to the park and it wasn't on the calendar, then I go back and I add it, because I like to see routine, and I like to see where my time is going. So I like to wake up early and just have that time. I mean, I do wake up really early. I would say getting up before the kids, not having your kids be an alarm clock, can really help set the tone for the day, especially if you're somebody that struggles with anxiety. And I think a lot of moms do. Getting that peaceful, quiet time before your kids wake up is really important. As a full-time mom, like, I don't know what age they are, if they're napping, or if you have like time to really work on your business, but you have to be very intentional with your working time, is what I would say. So like, not scrolling, not doing, like, think about the tasks that are actually going to drive the needle forward, and work on those, and time block. Even if you're just touching base with your database for 1 hour, I would really try to make lead gen like a priority, because if your day gets past you, like, you should be doing lead gen earlier in your day to make sure that like you got it done and you're not waiting to do it later. When you're napping, I made a post in the Moms in Real Estate Facebook group, but when your kids are napping, if you're laying with them, there's so many tasks that you can also do from your phone. When maybe you go on a walk with your kids like I do, and I'll let them listen to music on the walk while I'm listening to, that's when I'll soak up some like learning and learn something new and work on growing in my mindset, whether it's a podcast or whether it's like, you know, Atomic Habits, like I talked about. I also listen to Atomic Habits as I'm falling asleep at night. I like put it on a timer, because they say that's really good for your subconscious, whatever you're listening to. So maybe telling yourself affirmations at the end of the night as well. Time blocking. Yes, time blocking is so important. I could talk forever.
Mm-hmm. Well, you did great today. There's a lot of really great takeaways for everyone that's listening, and we have tons of comments, so that's good. And
thank you.
Yeah, tons of questions. So the great news is Tina's not going anywhere. She is a partner with Moms in Real Estate, and she's here to stay. And so, like she said, she's always in the community. You can reach out to her directly. She has her challenge coming up. And then, of course, you can find out more about Tina's business by connecting with her directly or going to heymire.com. But thank you so much, friend, for the masterclass today. And we will be back next week for, I think we just have our morning show, or we might have a masterclass. Check our calendar. All right, guys. See you next week.
Thank you.
Bye, Tina. You did great. Bye, Randy.
Thank you.